Hey there, welcome to the UkeStuff channel and welcome to this full UkeGuide review of this instrument. This is the Woodi Soprano Plastic Ukulele. They are still available, although I cannot get a hold of the actual company anymore. Their website isn't working, their Facebook isn't linked to anything. And this one came across my path almost 2 years ago when a local ukulele player was selling off some instruments in their collection, and I knew that I hadn't reviewed this. Now, this instrument has been reviewed by a number of people, including God Ukulele. Barry Maz has had a chance to review it. My friend David Remiger, who is known as Ukester Brown, has reviewed a Woodi instrument. So just so you know, there are reviews of this out here. This is nothing new. And in fact, compared to the competition today, it's actually kind of disappointing. Don't mean to spoil it for you. And I would say, without being mean about it, I'd be willing to bet that Barry Mazik at Ukulele would no longer recommend this instrument as well, considering the changes in technology over the time. So most of those reviews show as being 9 or 10 years old. So this instrument has been out for a while, and the technology has improved. You now have instruments such as the modern era outdoor ukulele, or you have, for example, the Enya Nova. Polycarbonate sort of instruments like that, or plastic polycarbonate altogether. So there's a lot of choice and a lot of improvement in the market. So it leaves sort of this in sort of a weird spot. And in fact, I've been at music education conferences where I've seen this branded with a different company, and I cannot recall what that company is. But I think they may be the people that have the rights to make this injected molded ABS ukulele at this point. So I think at one point it was kind of a nice change to the Waterman, for example, even though it had some issues and still does in this mold. But again, the world has changed in those times, and it's okay to look back at something that's still available and then review it in light of what else has changed since that time. So what we're going to do in this review is, first of all, we're going to look at subjective categories that I look at with all instruments. Then we're going to cover the specifications. Then I'll summarize the instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating. Also, if you just want to see the one-page summary of this review, you can do so at ukestuff.info. Just look under the UkeGuide page and look up the Woodi Plastic Soprano. You'll see it right there. Click on it. You have a one-page summary of this entire video. If you want to support the work here in the channel, there are 3 things you can do. First of all, you can like the video. Second, you can subscribe to the channel. Or third, you can always buy me a cup of coffee to say thank you for making this content at www.buymeacoffee.com/UkeStuff. All right, let's begin with the subjective categories. First of all, cost. These are $50 to $60 on Amazon, so not terribly expensive. For that $50 to $60, you can get into a much better instrument. So as we talk about value, the value is actually below the price. So the price exceeds the value in this case quite a bit, because there's no gig bag, no accessories, nothing else. You just get the ukulele with not such good strings, I understand, from the very start. It's just the value isn't there. Maybe it was at one point 10 years ago. It's not anymore for a $50 to $60 plastic ukulele. Now, the build quality overall is pretty good, but the main issue for me is the action. The action is really high at the 12th fret, and you cannot adjust the saddle. In modern plastic instruments, the saddle is adjustable. That's true of the Flight Travels, which have a laminate wood top, but still the rest of it's plastic, or whether we're talking the Enya Novas, or whether we're talking the Donner plastics, whatever it might be, and including the updated Waterman. Action was still too high in the one that I saw. I've not officially reviewed it, but the one that I checked out at a music teachers conference, action was way too high, but the saddle is adjustable. So that's important, and you can't do that here. So that becomes a build quality issue because you can't fix it. It is a bridge that is just frozen there. So if this is still being sold and made, they really should go back and revamp the bridge here, maybe to be lower, and then also with a saddle that's adjustable. It's probably time. You've probably sold enough of these, and it's time to do so. One of the things we do in these videos is we let you see what's happening on the inside of the ukulele. I call it the interior Uke Cam, but really it's just standard endoscope that I record, and then I show you what's going on in there. Now, as a plastic ukulele, we're probably not going to see much, but here we go. Let's look at the base of the ukulele first. Okay, as you can see, it's just a glued bottom. I don't know if we'll be able to reach up and see the top. There's the top. Looks like it might even have a metal clip to guide it or something there. You can see that there's some extra bracing at the bridge, and you can see the bracing on the soundboard. So it's nice to know that extra bracing is in there as well. And that's pretty much all we're going to see on the inside at the lower bout. Let's look at the upper bout. All right, there isn't a whole lot of room to look here, but we're looking right at the top of the ukulele. And as you can see, there's no neck block or anything. There's the top of the ukulele. The bracing does not appear to extend all the way in, so there's the very, very top where the fretboard runs into the body down there. So what I would say is if you wanted to put strap buttons on this ukulele, you want to be very, very careful. You'd want to drill a hole and probably glue with like CA or super glue the strap buttons in place if you wanted a strap button on this ukulele. Otherwise, there's nothing there for a screw to hold into, even plastic, for the strap buttons to hold into. All right, and that's our quick look at the Woodi ukulele. As for appearance, it has painted fret markers, which seem to be holding up pretty well. I believe I'm the third owner of this instrument, and those actually do seem to be holding up pretty well. It has either a sticker or a transfer for the position markers on the front. There are no position markers on the side, and you do have sort of a transfer in that gold on the headstock as well. But otherwise, it's very, very plain. You do have that sort of raised thing there, which is also evident in some of those Watermen as well. In terms of availability, they're still available. So you can look on Amazon or whatever, or just do a web search and you can pop up Woodi instruments. I'm not sure if the yellow one's available anymore, but I saw ones in patterns and also some solid colors out there as well from that $50 to $60 range. Now in terms of playability, I'm just going to say it's pretty difficult to play. It's got a thick neck and a very wide neck. Now this shape is used by some other companies, this sort of squareness, such as the Outdoor Soprano, the modern version. And let me tell you, it works really well here with a thinner shape, but still sort of that D shape. This is too thick. So I don't know if you can see the difference between the two, but the outdoor ukulele with that shape is incredibly comfortable to play. So this could be reworked. If you're going to rework the bridge, you might as well rework the neck as well. And then tie that into the fact that the action is so high, it's just not an enjoyable playing experience. And I was struggling at times to play it. Also, that 0 fret is so far away from the nut that that also can make it tricky to put your fingers in the right spot. There was a couple times that I was going above the 1st fret or above the 0 fret to play, which also that could be remedied by adjusting where that nut is in the mold. Now in terms of sound quality, it has a very tubby sound. It's not quiet. It's got some volume, but it's so boomy, so plasticky, so tubby that you lose something in there. So it's really dark, muted, tubby. It's not bright and sparkly. Now, could you put fluorocarbons on it and see how that would change the sound? Absolutely. And these are very low quality, I think, Aquila imitation strings that I put on, which would be very dissimilar to what you'd get if you bought it in the store as well. So, long story short is the sound is not good. It's not quiet. It's not super loud. The tone is darker than it's brighter. And just, there are such better options today than this for a plastic ukulele. Now, one of the things I do in these videos is I let you see what I'm hearing by using the app Tonal Energy Tuner. I play one of the most open chords I can. In this case, GCA would be the C chord, and let you see what's happening with the harmonic energy. Here we go. Now, what's interesting to me in this case is that Tonal Energy Tuner is picking up sort of all the mids in there more than the lows, which I'm hearing. I'm hearing it sort of caught and tubby. And there is some sustain. There's a slight amount of sustain, but it's certainly not chimey. The overtones are not really coming out of it. And again, I don't expect great sound from this either, but the sound is bad enough that I would probably avoid it if I were buying an ukulele. All right, now that we've gone over the subjective categories, let's go over the specifications. It is a soprano ukulele with a scale length of 13 inches. It has 12 frets from the 0 fret to the 12th fret, and it meets the body at 11.5, which you don't often see. It has no side position markers. The body style is a traditional double bout, and the whole thing, body, soundboard, back and sides, is ABS plastic. The bridge is ABS plastic as well, and it is slotted, which makes string changes a bit easier for beginners. And the fretboard is not radius, is also made out of that plastic. And the frets are plastic as well, but they have a metal paint that does seem to be holding out pretty decently well. The nut and saddle are ABS plastic, and the saddle is non-adjustable. The nut really isn't either, and you do have the 0 fret as well. The finish is a gloss plastic, as you'd expect. The overall length is 20.75 inches from tip of this sort of crown to the tail, and it weighs 15 ounces, which is lighter than you think. Holding it feels heavier than that. It has open geared tuners that, you know, they work and hold. The action at the 1st fret is less than 0.5 millimeters, which is really quite good, but the problem is at the 12th fret it is 3.5 millimeters. Now, there's going to be somebody out there who says, well, I could shave down that you know, that injected molded piece and make it. No, I don't think you'll get the depth that you need to get that. You'd be just running the sound off of your bridge, which would mess up your intonation further. So I don't think you want to do that on here. But hey, if you buy this and you want to do that, it's your money. You do what you want, right? That's the way it goes. Now, the nut is kind of big for a soprano, or for many sopranos, especially imported instruments like this, 36.55. And the spacing is 9.05 millimeters between each string. It does vary a little bit from string to string, which is 28.62. So ultimately, from G to A, so ultimately it becomes kind of a standard size ukulele, even though it has sort of a lot wider nut than you'd expect. And here's where the instrument really hurts. With a deep D-shaped neck, from the top of the strings to the bottom strings at the 3rd fret, it's 24.95 millimeters. That is one of the highest readings that I've ever had on this channel. Plus, that extra wide neck make it really chunky and hard to play. So with the negatives, you know, the fact that that 0 fret is so far down, the thick neck, the saddle that's not adjustable, the tubby sound, just stay away from it. All right, now that we've talked about all of the specifications, let's summarize the instrument and give it a UkeGuide rating. So a couple of years ago, I purchased this from a fellow ukulele player in the area and bought it just for the sake of reviewing it. And here's my chance to finally do that. 9 or 10 years ago, this was a new entry into the ukulele world. It was causing some buzz, as I think the only plastic ukulele at that time was the Waterman, even if it had been introduced yet. So it was kind of exciting. It was harkening back a little bit to the Macaferry Islanders of the day. And again, I'll do a separate video comparing this to the Islander and a couple other of the ukuleles that are newer. By the way, the Islander is a far better than instrument than this too, and you'll see that in a follow-up video as well. Now, I'm not sure if this company, Woodi USA, is still in business. It's kind of a funny name for a plastic ukulele anyway. But I have seen these rebranded under another company in the music education world. So they are selling these to schools as well too. Don't do that. If you're a teacher, don't get these for your classroom. So as I just said at the end of the specifications, with the 0 fret being so far from the nut, with the thick D-shaped neck and deep D-shaped neck, with the non-adjustable saddle, with the tubby sound, don't get this instrument. Not recommended. What score would it get on this channel? I would give this 1.5 ukuleles. Yes, it works as an ukulele, but there are such better choices out there for that $50 to $60 range, even in a plastic ukulele. Go there instead today. Now, could this model be revamped to be wonderful? Maybe. I think it would still be pretty tubby the way that it's built down here, but it could be a far better playing experience, and yes, that could happen. And if it happens, yes, I'd be happy to review another instrument. But as for now, stay away from this one. Or, unless you're going to see it super cheap at a secondhand store or something and just want something to bring to the beach, and it will potentially melt too. If this gets in the sun, hot car, it will potentially warp and melt. Be aware of that too. But if you're looking for something you can leave out in the rain without worrying too much about it, not a bad choice if you just want it for that purpose, but there are even better choices for that today. All right. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.